Hello everybody, welcome back to the Little Shop of Hoarders and the PDX Picker channel. My name's Chris. We're going to pull some orders that have sold for me recently on eBay, and we're going to talk about a topic that I think is really important to me, might be really important to you, and it has a big impact on the success of our business overall. So stick around. After the intro song, we'll pull a few orders, we'll talk about that topic, and we'll get into the day.
Wanna buy that Farrah Fawcett poster? Pez dispensers and a toaster. Don't know why. That kind of stuff you throw away. I'll sell on eBay.
All right, so it is Monday. The weekend was okay from a sales standpoint, but what was really a bummer is I had to deal with a lot of returns, a lot of issues, a lot of problems, and part of that goes into the topic that we're going to talk about later today in terms of how that has an impact on my overall thought process when it comes to my eBay business and my reselling business in general. Let's go ahead and pull a few orders, and we'll get into more specifics on those returns and that topic. And I'll be curious what you guys think about this. Am I on my own in this, or maybe are some of you also feeling this way? But first though, first item that sold is a pair of mugs, coffee mugs. Picked these up for $1 each. Bought 3 of them, kept 1 for myself because I just figured selling a pair or 2 of them was better than 1, or selling 2 of them was better than 3. See, these kind of creepy rattlesnake mugs from Graham, copyright 2006. Have these these snake heads inside them. I use this to drink coffee. It's not the most convenient thing to drink out of, but it's kind of cool. Picked those up for $2 each, and they sold for $16.95 plus shipping, or I should say $2 total, $1 each. I never really had much success selling mugs. Honestly, that might be the best profit I've made on mugs ever. So at least there's that. But next item that sold took a lot longer to sell than I anticipated, but it finally did. It is the complete set of, or series of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I picked these up for, pretty sure it was $1 each. Gonna have to confirm that. There's 7 seasons. Very precarious. 7 seasons, so I'm thinking that's $7 total. See me holding them right here. Let me just confirm how much I paid for these. I guess it was $10.50, so they must have been $1.50 each. Not sure why they were that amount, but anyway, those sold for $39.95 plus shipping. As I mentioned, took a lot longer to sell, probably 4 or 5 months maybe, but got a full price offer, or full price purchase on that one, so that's is okay, even though it took longer than I anticipated. And this one's interesting. I'm all over the place when it comes to Pendleton shirts. I don't know how many of you sell Pendleton shirts. I see a decent number of them being in the land of Pendleton. Pendleton is based out of the Northwest in Oregon, and this sold here. It's a vintage Nor'Wester wear by Pendleton, double XL. It's polyester and wool. I picked that up at Goodwill. It sold for $29.95. Just kind of had that classic color to it. It shows up, I think, really well on this camera that I'm holding. Better even than in real life, so I don't know what that means. I guess maybe the camera is a little enhancing of the actual colors. That red in there is just really popping. Ooh, I really like that through the lens of the camera. Anyway, I bought that at Goodwill quite some time ago. Only paid $5.99 for it. So selling it for $30 was pretty good. The reason why I'm talking about that, or hesitating on this, is I just sold, and maybe I underpriced it is the problem, but I just sold another vintage Pendleton shirt. That's your more classic Pendleton. This Nor'Wester wear by Pendleton. It's not 100% wool. I think it's maybe a lower model from back in the day. Did take longer to sell, like I mentioned, but I got the same price as the vintage Pendleton, 100% wool. So I guess moral of the story is I probably just underpriced the other Pendleton wool shirt that I'm talking about. So probably could have sold that one for maybe $35 or $40. As I mentioned, I had several returns that I had to deal with over the past 4 days. Some of them were minor. It's interesting, I had a gentleman that purchased a Norelco electric shaver from me. He asked me ahead of time if the shaver worked, if it held a charge. And when I test shavers, I plug them in, I charge them, I turn them on, but I don't leave them on for an extended period of time. And it was interesting, this buyer specifically asked, does it hold a charge? Probably because he's had bad experiences in the past with buying shavers that don't. And apparently that was the case with this one. He said when he went to use it, it only held a charge for about a minute. So he wanted to know if I would buy him a replacement battery for $5. I have no idea how to get him I could theoretically send him a battery, but that sounds sketchy. So I just offered instead to give him a $5 refund, partial refund on that, so that he could buy a battery himself, and he was perfectly fine with that. But it was only an $18 shaver, so $5 off of that. Now we're down to $12. Probably bought it for, I don't know, $2 to $4. Didn't make much of a profit overall on that one. Had another issue with, I sent 7 Mary Kay eyeshadows all together to one person, just locally here in the Portland area. And when the buyer received the item, one of the eyeshadows, she said, I can't remember the exact terminology, but it sounded like it came detached from the case. May or may not have been usable, I don't know, but she said that was basically the primary reason she bought the lot of 7 was for that one shade, so she was hoping to get some compensation for that. I gave her a $6 refund off of that one just to help, make the disappointment a little bit less of a concern. This next one wasn't that big of a deal because I ended up getting the item back, shipped off, and sold this plush duck. Very little money, $7.50. But when I sent it to the buyer apparently had the wrong address in the eBay system, so it got returned to me. I ended up giving him a refund for that, but I have the item, so not that big of a deal. But the last one was pretty frustrating. Still don't know exactly what I could have done different on this, but one of the Bona, the Bona wood oils, I sold 2 to the same person. When the buyer received the package, he said he opened it up and one of the cans had somehow leaked and only about a third of the product was remaining. I don't know how that works. The cans are pretty tight, the lids are pretty tight, but he showed pictures. It was definitely leaking everywhere. I refunded him the whole can price, $75 on that one. So it was just time after time after time over about a 3-day period where I had all these refunds, and it was really frustrating. Some of them were not that big of a deal, just a couple dollars here and there, but it kind of shook my confidence a little bit. It made me feel like I was messing up, like I was doing a bad job of shipping, of packing the items and making sure they got there, doing a bad job of testing the items in terms of the Norelco shaver. I just felt like the customers, the buyers were nice about it. Nobody was super upset. Nobody was freaking out. So far, I haven't received any negative feedback from it. In fact, on a side note, I finally got my feedback number score up to 1,000 even on my eBay feedback, which that feels pretty cool to get that 4-digit number next to my feedback. But then I just, all these things in a row, these little things just built up and added up to me feeling kind of like, not a failure so much, but I just felt like I was dropping the ball lately. Like maybe I was rushing or not doing as good a job as I needed to be doing along the way. And that brings me to the very topic that I want to talk about specifically, which is, I think, combination of these types of things, along with some other listings that I've done recently, have made me realize that I'm starting to be a little bit afraid of some of the aspects of this business. I'm a little bit nervous, I should say, about some of these. I'm almost afraid of growing my store to a size that's too large. I'm selling too many items. I don't have the quality control that I want in running my business, and that's nerve-wracking to me. I don't want to have the type of eBay business or just business in general where I'm making up for a bunch of mistakes that I've made along the way. I'm sending refunds. I'm basically taking a chance on ticking off a good chunk of my customer base. That's not the type of business I want to run. And, thinking about what the reasons are for some of these is, I think it's just because I almost feel like right now my business is right on that verge of growing too big for the amount of time that I need or I have to spend on it. Another way to look at it, though, is actually it's a good opportunity. Instead of being afraid of growing my business or thinking I need to make changes and reduce the number of items I have for sale or whatever it is. Instead, I think I need to start looking at my processes and make adjustments to make them more efficient and more effective. So I need to look at my testing processes, and I really need to look at my shipping processes when it comes to some of these more fragile items, because I apparently am getting a little too, I'm not cautious enough, I'm a little too callous when it comes to packaging these, because we have broken makeup, we have leaking wood oil. There's just other instances that have happened in the past couple of months where I know that a few things have been damaged along the way in shipping that may have been prevented had I just done a better job of shipping. So that's the takeaway I'm going to take from this, is drilling down on finding those problem areas and then working out new processes and new procedures to make that process more efficient and better. Nonetheless, it's still frustrating. It's still nerve-wracking. It's not a good feeling in general. Anyway, comment below. Tell me if you guys have had struggles with this. Have you had a slate of returns come through quick over a short period of time, or are there instances you've had with shipping, testing items, other things that I haven't brought up? Are there things that have gone on in your business that have caused you to make some big changes, or even some minor but involved changes to your process when it comes to your listing, your selling, your shipping? Let me know, comment down below. Let me know what you think about my situation, if you would do something different or change any of the processes along the way. So just comment below what you think. Let's get back to pulling some orders. We got some good ones still left. This next item that sold is not a really good one, but it's just part of that it's old inventory. I had this in my inventory for a long time, probably 3 years. It's just an old gold-plated small brooch and pendant. Kind of hard to see in this bag, but sold that for $9.40 free shipping. Don't know what I paid for it, but it was probably $1 or $2. So nice to get that out and hopefully into somebody's hands who is interested in that. I did sell a much better item, this next one. I think it's this one right here. I sold a Carhartt vest for, I think, $42.70, as I almost trip and fall. $42.70 plus shipping on that one. This is something I got at a garage sale near me for $7.50. So really good turnaround and flip on those. That was not the day of Carhartt where I found 7 Carhartt items in one day. That was actually, I think, the next weekend or the weekend after I found a couple of more Carhartts. But I'm not as keen on the vests as the double knee pants, but the vests still sell pretty well. So $42.70 plus shipping on that one. Next item that sold is a big lot of knee pads and elbow pads that I spent a good amount of time separating these out. Well, not a good amount of time. I don't know, 10, 15 minutes at the most, but a decent chunk of time separating out all of these knee pads. I had a big, huge lot of, they're Jakks, late 90s Jakks, Jakks, wrestling wrestling accessories, and then these were included in there as well. Spent $6 for everything. Sold a big lot of the plastic accessories that are like the rings, the chairs, things of that nature that are those types of accessories for $25. This lot I sold for $20 plus shipping, so not too bad of money made off of that $6. I mean, like I said, it was a decent amount of work doing the Separating of these, I was contemplating going through there and trying to find some to see if there were any certain elbow pads or knee pads that were worth more than others. I spent about 30 seconds doing that, and then I completely lost motivation because it didn't seem like that was going to be. It was going to be really hard to identify which wrestlers they went to, like super hard. I mean, I'm not at all I don't know. I don't have any familiarity with those figures, so maybe if I did, it would have been worth it, but it's okay. I'd rather let somebody else who maybe does have that familiarity buy that lot, do the work themselves, and maybe they can make the money. These 501 jeans bought for $1 and sold for $15 plus shipping. So again, I think I mentioned this a couple of times. $1 and a 15 isn't, you're not gonna impress anybody with that, but it's so easy. It's so quick. It took me about 3 weeks at the most, I think, to do that. 501 jeans, if you can get them super cheap, $3 or less, buy them because they're going to sell relatively quickly. So that's all about sell-through rate on that one, more so than value, because I'd rather buy something for $1, sell it for 15 in 3 weeks, than buy something for $1 and sell it for 25 in 8 months. It just makes more sense that way. Along those lines, I bought these Olakai flip-flops for $2. I don't know, a month or so ago, and it took me a couple of weeks to list them because frankly I forgot I bought them, and then I finally found them in this small little death pile I had, and so it's September 30th today. I think they sold over the weekend. Had these listed for I think $25. Somebody offered me $12 and we countered back and forth. I eventually settled on selling them for $15. So still had a pretty good profit, 2 into 15. These are a nice pair. I actually contemplated keeping them for myself because they're my size. But if I hadn't have taken that offer, I probably was going to sit on these. I don't know. There's a decent chance that I was going to sit on these until next summer. And then next summer, I would have maybe sold them for $25. So if I had waited 6 to 8 months, I might have got an extra $10. I don't know. It's not worth it to me. I'd rather take that $15 now and make sure I have that money available now to keep reinvesting into my business, sourcing, buying more things, hopefully finding items that are higher dollar to sell for a bigger profit. But anyway, that's just my philosophy on that. Last item for the day. I think this was the best seller, highest dollar item. It is a lot of 10 children's books. They are Star Wars Last of the Jedi by Jude Watson. This is a 10-volume set, and I was lucky enough to come to a garage sale that had all these for 50 cents each, so $5 for the lot of 10, and those sold for $47.45. Plus shipping. Took a 5% offer on that. Originally had them listed for $49.95, but they're in really good condition. Took a little bit of time to research them and make sure that I had all 10 of them, but I had to research how many were in the series first of all. I didn't know if there was 10 or 50 or whatever, but there are 10. Got them all, and I'm lucky. I feel good about that because I've had some bad luck. Like I bought these this lot of books called The Secrets of Droom, D-R-O-O-M. And I don't know what it was, but when I bought these, I think I paid, I don't know how many there are there, but I think I paid 50 cents each, and there's like 26 of them, so $13 for that. I, for some reason, thought I had the complete series, but it's obvious I don't, because it goes from like book 24 to 26 to 30 or something like that. So anyway, paid probably more than I should have for those, and since I don't have the complete set, it's not as attractive to a buyer, because now if they're going to want to buy that whole series, they got to find somebody that's going to be selling them, the individual number 25 and 28 and etc., etc. So anyway, point of it is I was happy to find all 10 of the Star Wars Last of the Jedi series, because complete series certainly sell a lot better than partials, or at least in my experience. So alright, that's it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Please like it if you did and subscribe to my channel to get more content like this in the future. Once again, creeping ever so much closer to 1,000 subscribers, which is a big landmark in the YouTube community. Would love to hit there, so if you're not subscribed, please do so. It would mean the world to me. Good luck in all of your reselling adventures out there, and we'll catch you on the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.